Tail the tape, it's at 155. The younger fighter, of course, is NABOTOV. FIGLAK coming from the UFC, only 2 losses there at a very high level. A little bit shorter. Both guys coming in clean on the scales. Just on the limit at 70.3, a little bit above. Should be 2 very high caliber talents here with a seriously high ceiling.
Scheduled for 3 rounds at lightweight. FNC MMA rules to be applied. And, both fighters, good stand-up skills. FIGLAK has the boxing, the footwork, but NABOTOV has the wrestling as a superior skill in the back pocket, but can still dance in the upright. Good left-right combination there from NABOTOV. Fast hands, goes downstairs for the takedown, doesn't pull it off. FIGLAK doesn't want to know with any of that, and will not go into the parlor of the Spider. Oh, NABOTOV, aggressive coming forward. Throwing good volume here. Hands, knees, oh, but then flies in for the shoot. FIGLAK sprawls, beautiful defense there. Smart, fast, sharp, but NABOTOV not giving up on this.
He's so busy, Will. He can do it all, too, like you said. There's a lot of volume on the feet. He has unusually fast hands for a guy who can wrestle and shoot like that. But you see the level of the shot. Not only does he shoot from quite a ways out, but he actually pulled FIGLAK into him. But well-versed is FIGLAK in the art of TD.
Relentless work from NABOTOV on the wire here. But FIGLAK knows what he has to do, and he'll have trained for this. But NABOTOV just so relentless, trying to get that leg in position to take down FIGLAK. FIGLAK denying him, has to go to one knee. Just look at how busy NABOTOV is, throwing all the time, trying to disorient. And again, the wrestling skills almost innate to fighters from Kazakhstan. And in this case, Tajikistan from NABOTOV. Dagestan. Oh, that was beautiful. Throws his man down on the mat almost effortlessly. That's power, still working with the punches. FIGLAK is going to have to work out how he's going to get the keys to the locks here.
It's exactly the kind of hard wrestling and hard work rate that's going to be important in this fight. We saw earlier tonight with Arisbiev. Impossible to control, really, when a guy is that busy on you and constantly working the options. You don't really know if he's going to attack the back, punch you, reap a leg, ride you from the back, drag you down and dig his toes in. It's a mess in there right now for FIGLAK, who is no mug, Will. He is a very experienced fighter.
Yeah, FIGLAK is wearing NABOTOV like a cheap suit, if you'll excuse the old expression. He really is, and this is another fighter that we're seeing tonight with that Caucasus wrestling style. They are like Velcro. He is stuck to FIGLAK, and I think the referee is calling timeout here.
Tough to see what the infraction was there. I thought the ref was actually going to step in potentially because of an injury. Let's take a look at it, though. They're going to go to the neutral corners. There'll be a sign for the ref to obviously have a word here. Yep, it was contact to the back of the head. He must have given a warning. We couldn't quite see it from our camera angle.
Well, this works very well for FIGLAK. His mission has got to be to keep this standing. Just tell it. Oh, yeah, there you go, Chris. Hammer fist to the back of the head. Props to FIGLAK. He didn't complain. But in the upright now, this suits him if he can keep it there, if he can land the hands. But just look at the dance that he's being given by NABOTOV here. He is great on his toes. Just look, very comfortable, and actually makes FIGLAK, who is the boxer, look lumpen.
Yeah, he looks slow. We see it from these kinds of fighters, though, that have trained from such a young age, especially in traditional martial arts. Muhammad Kabir Nazarzoda, for example, comes to mind as a fighter who can wrestle from quite a ways out, but also knock you out with hands and feet. Nice roll there from FIGLAK. He was thinking about rolling for a knee bar. Well defended from NABOTOV to settle his base and disallow the inversion.
NABOTOV is on it like a bonnet. He really is every opportunity to shut down the punches, the kick, that FIGLAK in prospect could bring to this. Just look, he's closing it in, and FIGLAK being held by a tie clinch. FIGLAK goes now for the legs for the takedown. Let's see how he gets on with that.
He could go high crotch, but you can see again how relaxed NABOTOV is. Very nice. FIGLAK did a great job there of getting his hands together, and he's strong. He might actually be stronger than NABOTOV, who may have superior technique, but strength matters.
Yeah, that was power. Up and over and down he went. And NABOTOV now starting to get a taste of his own medicine. Great pass. Absolutely good work there by FIGLAK. Doesn't hold it. And look, that's a barrel of monkeys, isn't it? NABOTOV, so difficult to pin down on the ground. What are you going to do? Well, this is starting to trade now, and FIGLAK realizes that the opportunity is there if he can keep the pressure on, keep it sharp, goes for the shoot, goes for a takedown, and again the power, bang, he pile drives his man. And NABOTOV starting to say, well, I thought this was going to be all my way, but yeah, a big wake-up call there as FIGLAK imposes himself at the end of the round.
And both guys haven't been that active in the last couple of years, which was always going to be the question mark if there would be some rig rust. And I would have looked at what happened with FIGLAK, who 2022 a loss, 2024 a loss, and nothing since. May have been a little less comfortable from the beginning. You know, if you don't have a good warm-up or if you don't quite start right against a guy like NABOTOV, that can cost you dearly. And that for me was really the beginning of the round, where NABOTOV just looked very graceful and elegant on the feet, landing lots of volume, controlling here on the plum. Hear that ride from the back. Exceptional wrestling, Will. FIGLAK thought about turning there to try to land a spinning kick, but couldn't do it.
So, two of the scheduled three here in this lightweight matchup. It's been wrestling a go-go. Dobrashok NABOTOV imposing himself very early, making himself very, very difficult and awkward, both in the upright. Ooh, lovely uppercuts there from NABOTOV, and also on the ground. But FIGLAK starting to join up the dots, starting to put this together, and starting to, in the upright now, excel at what he does. But no mug, NABOTOV. Great boxing skills. Just look at that uppercut. Right in on the inside, right up through the middle, and testing the chin of FIGLAK.
It's good boxing for sure. But FIGLAK is now on the prowl. He's the one who's really trying to cut this cage. And that was always going to be an important part of the fight, is to make the cage feel very small against the more elusive and technical kickboxer in NABOTOV, especially the guy who's going to throw volume on you.
Power shots from FIGLAK. Disguise the shoot. Can he affect it? Doesn't manage on the wire. This is where it gets attritional now. FIGLAK, it's difficult to work out what he's going to try and do in terms of strategy here. Definitely, NABOTOV has got the wrestling skills, but FIGLAK has the power, the shots, the boxing capability. And, well, there was an opportunity, I think, to have grabbed a neck, but he didn't take it or couldn't take it. So it is a barrel full of monkeys dealing with NABOTOV. He's everywhere, and you just can't seem to pin him down. And this is where FIGLAK needs to be if he can land the shots.
Yeah, again, just good pressure, good cage management. He's eating too many punches, though. Sometimes he's fighting with his forehead. There was an uppercut to a left that landed there. NABOTOV very light on his feet. able to find good angles. And you can kind of see FIGLAK loading up. You know when he's stepping forward to load up on a jab.
Well, they need to impress the judges in this, the second round. I think they've both had moments. I think NABOTOV has had the cleaner shots. I'd edge him in the first, definitely. And now in the boxing, he's quite happy to stay on his feet. And that is interesting. And, in front of this crowd, who are very demanding, it has to be said. As I say, FIGLAK just looks a little bit slower off the mark than NABOTOV. FIGLAK relying on the power if he can land the shots on the inside. But I would have liked to have seen more kicks. That lead leg of NABOTOV is very inviting for a bit of a kickmeister. Gets in on the inside. Doesn't do anything. One punch in exchange. They're both beginning to tire now, and I think that's going to be the difference here. At least for me, NABOTOV, when he comes in on the inside, he throws a shot and then follows it up. But now that was a bit of a slip. It's gone to the ground. Now what can FIGLAK do from this?
He did a really nice job just popping that jab in the face, then finally got the timing that allowed him to get inside. Snap down the head, smart, avoid the roll. Very good. FIGLAK just needs to dominate. He can win this round, Will. He lost the first. I think he's going to win the second here.
Powering in from the top. Can NABOTOV spoil him? Can he close him down? FIGLAK just needs to keep the volume and the accuracy going. Clock's against him. We're on the clapper, so nothing meaningful. And by that I mean we're going to finish the round out in this position. And just that minutes, seconds earlier would have been a route out of this for FIGLAK, but we're going to go to 3. We're going to have to reflect on how well that went for each of these two. It was a slow round, there's no doubt about that, but there was some meaningful work. So they've got to work out the strategy, work out what to do, because both these men good in the upright, it has to be said. NABOTOV surprisingly good, so let's just see what they've got to throw into the mix going into 3. Third and final round. I think it's crunch time for both men. Still everything to play for. Fighting red, Dobrashok NABOTOV. Originally from Tajikistan, fighting out of the Spitfire Gym, Berlin. Fighting blue, Michal FIGLAK, originally Polish, fighting out of Trojan Free Fighters, Gloucestershire in the UK. Good hand, starting to make an impact now. Knows what he's got to do, FIGLAK, and the punches are starting to rock back the head of NABOTOV. He's getting in close enough. Oh, great single leg. Just didn't realize how effective that was, FIGLAK. Now has to scramble. And NABOTOV, although he was better in that second round, FIGLAK coming strong in the third.
It's excellent work here from FIGLAK. It's remarkable to see the change in the tenor, if you will. The energy that wasn't there in the first round is now there. And that's very important, I think, especially like you said, Will, of getting on the inside, making it a rough fight, landing the straight punches and picking up the takedowns.
So the pace has been pretty furious and relentless. The wrestling, certainly, but FIGLAK has now picked it up to try and give a strong finish here and maybe find an opening. He knows he's got finishing power. Good head movement, ducks under, throws the hands. Now FIGLAK starting to have a lot of good success here in this third round. NABOTOV not so sharp, not so fast, walking onto the shots that he once would have been throwing. Not that creative in terms of trying to get a takedown and putting that together here either. So, well, the power rests with FIGLAK. And just looks like the steam has been taken out of NABOTOV.
I agree. And he spoke about pressure coming into this fight, about being able to capture the eyes with an impressive performance. And I think he struggled a little bit. The first round, he looked so on point. And now he's taking shots, eating a right cross there. Something that almost FIGLAK got for free.
Going for the power move there. Trying to take his man down. Doesn't manage it. NABOTOV denies. And, well, the traffic both ways starting to favor FIGLAK. Can he make it meaningful? Nearly did there. Slips under, tries to drop in the overhand. Again goes for the shoot. NABOTOV. FIGLAK defends. That was brave at this stage, but he's taking too many hits in the stand-up here. And FIGLAK finding the range, finding the target, and putting together just double combinations, but they're enough when he's on the inside to do the work. And beginning to maul his way in to NABOTOV's pocket. Oh, good hands again. And, if you're scoring this is great work for FIGLAK. Not headhunting, not trying to finish, but would if he could. And I think at this stage, NABOTOV does have to have a care.
I think it's important right now for FIGLAK to complete a takedown. You could just see how burnt out the arms were of NABOTOV when he shot on FIGLAK about 30 seconds ago. And that just wasn't there in the first round. I think, you know, all of the movement, all of the extra things he put into some of the moves in the first sort of 5, 6, 7 minutes of the fight is wearing him worse for wear right now. And at the end of the day, FIGLAK could win this fight, Will.
Well, over a minute left, just in the third round. NABOTOV still on his toes and still trading, trying to find a way in for the shoot, and still got some hurt on the back end of some of those punches. But, oof, that whistled by. FIGLAK swings the right. That had more swing on it than Glenn Miller's band. There was an awful lot of roundness to that. Just missed, but could have done well. Straight left, right through the middle, and again straight left, and then the high kick. And NABOTOV is doing the worst thing any fighter can possibly do, and that is saying, come on, let's trade. And FIGLAK not having any of it. In fact, FIGLAK is trading and sees that spinning back elbow coming a mile off. In fact, Nostradamus could have predicted it. Getting the upper hand here, FIGLAK. Good work. And starting to get very, very solid in the connections. I don't know if the clock will favor FIGLAK in terms of the work that's been done by NABOTOV, but I think it will, and he's throwing everything. There it is. Well, at to'd and fro'd in terms of pressure and dominance. It's going to go to judges' scorecards. Chris, we have a chance to throw our lot in. I think FIGLAK's done enough.
I think he has too. It ended up being such a messy fight, such an exhausting fight. There was hesitation, I think, that really crept in for NABOTOV, where there was so much certainty from the beginning. I believe FIGLAK was able to find his way inside, especially off the jab. He really caught wind of the jab, stepping in and then really finding his mark in the second round with that punch. It set up his ability to get inside as well as press the clinch and the takedown effectively.
So we get a chance to revisit the action. And on the inside, NABOTOV was wicked. And that's what FIGLAK had problems dealing with, but then stayed the course, used the left, and then found his way in. And that would have stopped a lesser fighter. And FIGLAK kept the range with the left. Good, steady, clean boxing. But look at that. When he does get in on the inside, NABOTOV is a real terror. But the power from FIGLAK was enough after using the left classically to get range, uses the right to punish NABOTOV, and he kept the distance and was able to pick him off. Right, so
Well, ladies
judges'
and gentlemen, after
scorecards.
those 3 completed rounds of action, we go to your judges' scorecards, where we have a unanimous decision. All 3 judges scoring this contest 29 points to 28 in favor of your winner. In the blue corner, Mika